Part 3 of The Broken World, other parts down below. The choice to talk to me was always there. The choice to tell me what she needed was always there. The choice to not sleep with someone outside our marriage was always there. The choice to come clean about her affair was always there. Now as she reached each of those choices and chose incorrectly, it led to choices that when made incorrectly were harder for me to forgive. I lived a lie for over a year believing my wife loved me so much and she was the one person this earth I knew I could depend on. Then I found out that she was no more dependable than a work colleague or casual acquaintance. That when faced with right or wrong and with the state of our marriage at stake, she chose a selfish route. And that choice had a consequence. Let me use the military analogy. You can only be effective as your trust of the guy to your right and to your left. You trust they will do their jobs and they trust you will do yours. That makes all of you an effective team. But when that trust is broken, then someone gets hurt or killed. Then in your mind you have to think, can I trust the guys anymore? I can't live like that. In my mind I gave it my all every day in my marriage. I am walking away with a clear conscience. And I didn't cheat. My word is intact. Update time, Thursday evening 1st. Yes, my mother knew I was meeting the OBS. No, she did not tell my STBX even though she was wanting to so bad. My mother is not happy with STBX and I am sure STBX was shocked to see her there when she arrived to pick up her things. I can see my mom watching every move with her arms crossed and one eyebrow cocked up. STBX only got what I boxed up and about 4 joint items. She still has a lot of items to get, but right now it's been cordial. Other than the occasional text apologies from her, G has erased all social media. Through the friend circle I have been told Jay has told her to quit her job or he will report the affair guy to her company. He's in a supervisory role but not hers. Also, Jay has notified this guy's live-in girlfriend. So, Jay appears to be going all in on the nuclear option. I did receive a text from him about lawyers and I sent my lawyer's info. If he does not reach out this weekend I might swing by his work and check on him next week. As I said, I'll probably go ahead and start actively sorting items and finances with her, which will involve seeing her and directly talking to her. If it doesn't not look as though it will be something we can accomplish together, I'll just turn it over to the attorney. It would go quicker and cheaper if she and I could work out the details. Spoke to OBS this morning. She's been busy. Real estate is booming right now with the interest rates as they are. She's showing land, houses all day. I did ask her about other BSs and if she had shared any info with them. She said the only other woman he was seeing during the time he was seeing my STBX was a single mother. So, no. The others she had strong indications he was seeing but no direct evidence. The single mother was still ongoing when she pulled Pi off. And no, she is not reading the thread. She said it would feel like she was stalking me. Other than that, we tentatively set a lunch date next week. I'm getting back into working full-time next week, and while I do not have plans to go out of town, you can never know. OBS recommended I get out of town for a few days just by myself and act single. By that, just go out and mingle and be around people but somewhere I won't know anyone. Kind of reboot of going out alone and getting used to not having anyone there to interact with like my STBX. I did see my in-laws, her father and his wife this morning. They were at a specialty grocery store that we all like to shop at, but there is only one in our area. It was nice. He shook my hand and hugged me. He looked as if he was going to cry. He has always been a very good man to me. I respect him a lot. But she's his daughter and I understand that. The conversation was short but it meant a lot. My sisters both have mentioned that their friends are asking about me. And I have heard from one former girlfriend and another member of our broader friend group. I mention this because to me it's tactless. I mean, it would be like hitting on the widow at the funeral. Now some may argue the OBS is doing something like that, but it's different in the sense that my interest in her was apparent and she recognized it. We had a very, for lack of a better term, adult discussion about it. There was no coyness or games, just 2 adults talking about a possible physical relationship down the road. So, it's not the same. These ladies, especially the 2 I spoke to personally, were very aggressive about getting involved. I've seen guys do this too, and I don't like it either. It's really a strange situation to be in, because there is not only, I guess, moral objection I have to the timing, but also the self-doubt I have within myself right now. I've never been the girl on both arms type of guy. I very seldom had any type of casual bonding situation. It's just not in my DNA makeup, I guess. I have taken most of this weekend to be alone and do mundane housework and typical home stuff. In doing so I have had some time in my own head. Physically I am better, sleeping better due to ramping up my running and workouts. Eating was hard but more energy expended has cured that. I'm currently setting myself up for a liquid fast starting in 3 days. I'm prone to be overweight, so in high school I started watching my weight and exercising. It's hard to believe now, but if I was to get complacent, I'd become a balloon with arms and legs. Mentally I'm still struggling obviously. The doubts are probably the worst thing right now. Did I pull the trigger too soon? Can we really not work it out? Is this right or that right? I think these are normal, so I'm not freaking out, but still couple that with the truly deep feelings of love I still have for her, it makes for a real mental salad. I believe getting back to a normal workload will help. I still feel as though I am not in control of my fate right now. that I'm hiding from her and not just dealing with the issue. I'm much more of a see a problem, analyze the problem, fix the problem type of guy. The house is mine before marriage. Gift from grandparents. Yes, on the investments, but mainly retirement. STBX is a social worker in the local school system. Like many my age, I have a couple of other incomes, so financially we were better than average. I will take a hit due to her carrying insurance. If she was unhappy about our financial situation, projections, she never voiced it. We started trying to have a child after the first of the year. We have been talking about for a long time, and it's something we both wanted even before we married. If our company continued its current trajectory, then there would be no reason why she could not have had a choice in staying home or continue working. I want to add, I'm not what you would call your typical millennial. I was born and raised by religious conservative parents, and honestly, I have not strayed too far from those values. But I also recognize that what is portrayed in the broader media as conservative, religious is not my experience, nor even comes close to describing my parents. Do I have different views on some things than they do? Of course, but my value system is strongly based in how I was raised, as well as my work ethic. I also recognize that those are not unique to my beliefs. I feel it may explain to some why I have had such a visceral reaction to those that are throwing their hat in the ring. It's not necessarily a religious thing, but to me it's just a matter of decency and respect. Respect for me, my marriage, and themselves. I realize that sounds judgmental, but it is what I feel. I guess to me there is a time and place, and this is not it. Yeah, it's been nice and quiet, concentrating on work. I do have lunch scheduled with OBS today, and I'm looking forward to it. And today is STBX's last chance to pick up papers from my lawyer. If she does not, we will have her served. That's about it. The anger was there, but honestly, I was hurt worse than angry. I still am. It's been since we have gone no contact that I have experienced the most overt anger, especially when I'm alone. Reflecting back, of course you think, I should have this or that, but essentially it would have been futile. Nothing would have changed. Just a quick update. Lunch with OBS was fun. Just a great visit with no talk about our BSs. And STBX picked up papers. How wife cheated. They all seemed to follow a script. He was nice. He complimented me. He gave me attention. I knew it was wrong, but I got caught up in it. After the first time it got easier. I didn't mean it. Mainly I found out he played her and she enjoyed it. She then went to great pains to justify it. Even to go so far as convince herself I was cheating. She also had an enabling friend that was also involved in an ongoing affair. I apologize if that is not what you're asking, but seriously, pick just about any thread on here and they all say the same thing. Just in my case, I had the information handed to me by the OBS, and then I looked in her old phone and was able to read them. Disgusting conversations between her and her supposed friend. And I want to add the absolute callousness and disrespectful dialogue between them about their marriage and swapping stories about their affair partners was just mind-boggling. At one point they compare their AP size. My STBX was disappointed that her AP was not as well endowed as her friend's AP. Now this was soon followed up by my STBX expressing guilt over her affair. Insane. Cheating was a hard line for me. Once I saw the pictures in my mind it was over. Not in my heart yet completely, but head definitely. It was the dialogue in her texts that probably made me petty eventually, making her write every detail. Well, you would think, but I'm getting texts tonight about us meeting and talking. And honestly, I do need to meet with her. If we can get moving on a division of property plan, it can be submitted pretty quickly after the initial 30 days. And she keeps saying she does not want to get a lawyer. I might just meet this weekend sometime. Start that discussion. She has to get more of her stuff anyway. And honestly, I just want to get this first meeting over. As I said earlier, I think I needed to take back some control over that part of my life. What I would think is that she got the papers today, so she's losing her crap. This is real now. So, I would guess she wouldn't ask to speak to you unless she wants to lay out in a last-ditch effort why you should give her another chance. My lawyer and I have already outlined an agreement, and I'll be using that as my guide. The goal here is twofold. Get divorced as quick as possible and protect my relatively new company. As far as what she wants to be discussed, it's the usual. Can't we talk about this? I'm sorry, but I know we can work this out. I know I screwed up, but please, I love you. That's the gist of it. I'm going to think on it a bit and then make a decision on how to go about it. I went ahead and texted her the following. We need to sit down and work on the details of our separation of financial and personal possessions. I will send an email with details on what you need to bring, familiarize yourself with for this meeting, as well as a time and place of the meeting. If there is an issue with the time of the meeting, we will discuss that via text. Her response was a simple okay. We have agreed on meeting at my home with our mothers present. I have sent the agenda to her and we will go from there. The only thing off agenda she mentioned was that she would like to apologize to my mom. Not sure why she can't call or go by and see her, but I told her sure. Yes, I plan on recording it, and yes, they will be present for the entire meeting. And I mean at the table, they're not in the house, in another room present. This will all but guarantee she will not want to get away from the agenda. No way will she risk me pulling out those pictures in front of her mom. I'm happy with this, and hopefully the two of us can work this out without getting too far into the legal weeds. So that's my plan for Saturday afternoon. Update: I'm extremely angry today. I am beyond any semblance of sanity. Without a play-by-play because I'm just still working through this. Here are the highlights. She believes she might be pregnant. 6 days late and 2 positive and 1 negative test. After hearing that, I just went into my home office and shut the door for about 30 minutes, honestly not knowing what to say or do. While I'm in my office, she gave this huge no-holds-barred confession to both her mother and mine. I mean, very detailed. For the first hour after I come out, I listen to her, my mom, and my MIL talk about mistakes, therapy, working things out, and of course her continued detailed confession. Finally, I just tell them all that nothing has changed. We don't know she is pregnant, so I will move forward as though she's not. Though not happy about it, my mom backs me up. We sorted out the personal property and got a rough outline of the financials. Made plans for her to come by Thursday evening to pick up more items. That's basically it. Obviously, lawyer is going to get called. I have no idea how this affects the financials, but that's the least of my worries. I have a STBX that may be pregnant. Instead of being able to enjoy that, I'm angry, not at the pregnancy but the circumstances surrounding it. I am angry to have been put in a position that may require me to interact with someone that has hurt me so bad for the rest of my life. Not to mention how to enjoy this event, this life-changing event with this betrayer. I was living my best life 3 weeks ago and now I can't wake up from this nightmare. I feel like I'm being purposefully screwed with. Of course, I get the loving text from the STBX. I love you so much and I know you will be a great father because you are such a loving husband. Seriously, so, if we are equating good husband to good father, what kind of mother does that say you're going to be? And yes, I sent the reply. At this point I absolutely do not care about anyone or any damn thing. I never addressed my being the father or anything. Definitely one for the lawyer. As for my mom, she was just as shocked as I was, so I can cut her some slack. She stayed here last night and we have spoken about what happened and is 100% on board with my wait and see, talk to attorney response. She opened with the pregnancy and after I left the room gave the details of the affair. It's small but definitely puts a different spin on it when you say it your way. I'm just trying to keep the facts straight. I've noticed some posters, not picking on you, tend to misread or get the posts jumbled up when they read my typing. I'm not very clear sometimes because I tend to write the way I speak. A good example of this is the misquote about me reading her phone when I was an hour away from home. I actually wrote I'm an hour away from her getting home. It still appears to be causing some confusion. And yes, the attorney will be called immediately Monday morning. We decided around the 1st of the year and she went off birth control. To her credit, she stated it's possibly she's late due to the stress of our marriage imploding. Her words: I'm in the weeds here so anyone knows if that is a thing feel free to share. Also, I learned that she has been, for lack of a better term, outed at work and is the talk of school system. As well as a number of Gina's friends have come at her pretty strong on social media to the point she has shut all social media down. Gina, by the way, is Jay's wife and yes, that is her name. I know my STBX and I are no longer together, but screw her and her sanctimonious friends for going after STBX for the same crap they were doing. As for whether or not I believe her, I have not stated one way or the other to anyone other than my mom. And yes, I believe she thinks she's pregnant. It does not make it so. Plus, again, there is no end game here that makes sense. Pregnant or not, there will be a divorce. She knows me well enough to understand that. And it does explain, at least to me, why she wanted her mother there once I stated we would meet only with a third party present. I could not for the life of me figure out why she would put at risk her mother finding out any of the details of her affair. And apparently, she had confessed everything to her mother when she thought she might be pregnant. One final thing on the pregnancy issue. Unless she went out and got pregnant in the last 3 weeks, I am 99% sure I am the father. While anything is possible, she has literally by my side 24/7 the past 13 months with few exceptions. So, if she is pregnant, and again I don't know, and she was clear she was not 100% sure, it would be mine. All I can do right now is deal with what I know. Everything else has to be figured in as it becomes a fact. I fully intend to be the best father I can be if she is pregnant. And if she is pregnant, I'm more than sure it will be mine. I'll get a DNA test, but to be honest, it would be more for her humiliation than my peace of mind. I think I can be petty a little bit. With that said, just a quick update. I've spent the day with the best advisors a person can have. My parents, they both have assured me they will support whatever my decision I make. In this case, divorce. Both laid out the arguments for divorce and leaving the door open for reconciliation. Even reconciliation after divorce. I just can't bring myself seeing reconciliation in any form a good idea. They as always are good at playing both sides of an issue. Especially my dad. STBX has texted that she will call tomorrow and make an appointment to see the doctor. She said if I want to go with her I could. She rightfully knows I am skeptical of this, so is offering me a chance to be there. I replied thank you, I will let you know. Spoke to OBS and told her. Her response was what I expected. She was positive and upbeat and encouraging. Her advice was to calm down. breathe, and grill a steak. Seriously, she says I've never seen a man happier than when he's cooking dead cow over an open flame. So, I just finished eating a steak and wrote this. I don't think the baby is the issue. I'm pissed about having her in my life in some form for the rest of my life. So yeah, we agree. But our lives the past 13 months have been very close. We literally worked in the same home office and lived in the same house without being apart for any meaningful time. We were locked down and even went to pick up groceries together because we both needed to get out of the house. Seriously, I was there, I know. It was not like before where we had separate things to do and places to be on any given day. Hiding a physical affair was easy pre-lockdown. It would have been damn near impossible this past year. Just be clear, my parents have never pushed R. My mom was caught up in a discussion about it and they both just provided an argument for R as way to ensure I had thought things through. I would say shock was an understatement. STBX never exhibited any red flags. The whole self-conscious, insecure thing was from out of left field. STBX has gained a few pounds. It was not some massive physical change. They were definitely surprised. According to the attorney, there is nothing that will stop me from going ahead with the divorce. If it is finalized prior to birth, then paternity will be established separately, and then custody, child support, visitation, etc. will be determined. I am presumed to be the father until testing and establishing paternity after birth. That's the short answer. Now the long version. My attorney wants me to think hard before pushing the divorce quickly if STBX is pregnant. Her reasoning is that at any point in this, STBX can become highly uncooperative during the divorce proceedings. While it may not be that way now, she warned me that divorces turn extremely contentious on a dime. If I am willing to go slow at this point and she turns out to be pregnant, then the chances of me being more involved and informed in regard to the pregnancy is higher. She is not advocating reconciling, she is advocating me showing a willingness to cooperate and be a part of the process, putting the baby before anything else. Then it can only help me when we do divorce. There was talk of maybe even attending classes that help divorced couples co-parent during this time. She also said during this time it may become easier for us to be around each other and that will also be to my benefit. I know this sounds kind of manipulative, but if she is pregnant, I absolutely want all the access I can get to my child. Now don't get me wrong, my attorney is legit ready to go. I think she is just warning me that I can step on the gas and get it done quickly without it actually happening quickly and make future negations harder. Or I can slow down, let things settle, and show the court that I am willing to put the child's best interest first. Then when the time comes to proceed, there is a history of cooperation on my side regardless of what STBX does. Again, that is just a second scenario that the attorney is letting me know about. Quick divorces with the woman pregnant usually only happen when they want to get divorced fast, not the other way around. With that information and other things we discussed, mainly the company financials and such, I'll have a lot to think about. The important things to remember is first, we do not know if she is even pregnant yet. Second, we are still within the 30-day window for her to respond and have at least 3 weeks left on that. So, slowing down is not really slowing down unless she's pregnant. Third, if she is pregnant, then I want to be as in the baby's life as much as possible. And this may be the best way to accomplish that. Now all of this information is less than 2 hours old. I'm relaying it to get opinions. It is an option, scenario I have not been able to find any information on. Don't automatically assume it is the route I'll go. The anger is still very much there, and letting it go appears to be something further in the future. For the record, I contacted the therapist I used after the assault. If you have ever experienced a physical beating, it has a way of creating not just paranoia, but anger. You find yourself questioning your own manhood and second-guessing whether or not you're really able to protect yourself or your loved ones. This leads to a lot of anger and frustration. Anyway, I think that may help me process through some of the anger better. I had contacted him a couple of weeks ago but decided not to respond. I think I'm ready now. Her OB/GYN appointment is May 17th. One final thing. Abortion is not an option for me. I talked to her a while ago regarding plans for her to come by tomorrow to pick up some things. Based on that conversation, I'm sure she would if I asked. The scheduled pickup has changed from tomorrow evening to Saturday morning. It's possible I'll ask her then. Not sure at this point. As for her pregnancy, we spent all year last year in lockdown planning and talking about this. It was something I very much wanted. But I, like many betrayed, didn't get that choice to make an informed decision because we were lied to and told how much we are loved. Then we learn that the love is easily put in a box and closed up tight for an hour while the supposed love of our lives has slept with someone else. Then picks that box up, opens it and puts on the love and wears it like nothing happened. It's hard to see the smile on your wife's face when she's walking out of a hotel room after sleeping with someone else. You don't forget that. I am speaking of my marriage and my wife. I don't think anyone goes into their marriage thinking they will not be supportive and caring of their spouse. That was only part of how I was raised. Love and cherish my wife. She has done this despicable thing and now I have to transition from those feelings to one of indifference, not hate. I cannot do that overnight. I'm not capable of that. I do not like having to do that. But I have no choice at this point. Now to make the leap from me being raised to be compassionate to my wife to not being raised to be angry at injustice is a hell of a leap. Of course, I get angry at injustice. There are injustices everywhere in life, but emotionally reacting to injustices without a way to correct them causes more injustice. And that is what I am trying to avoid as I navigate through this. People asked how I was raised. First, I have a belief system that is based on my religion. Whether I am a practitioner of my religion or not, my life is still filtered through that belief system. I was also raised to be a critical thinker as well as compassionate person. We seem to have an overabundance of emotional thinkers in our world today. Most my age and younger. Many do not have the ability to set aside their emotions long enough to think through their actions and words. Emotions are nice, but when they are not processed even a little before you act, bad things happen. Many problems that arise spontaneously in our lives are made worse by reacting emotionally, and not critically. Granted, there is reflex and survival instinct. But the old sayings, count to 10 before you respond, react, and if you have nothing nice to say, then say nothing, are really rules to live by that can change your life. People forget I had hours alone in a hotel room agonizing over this. And agonizing does not begin to describe it. I realized that if we stayed close to each other physically, I would not be able to properly process this. I needed space. I also knew this was something that was changing me. Not knowing how and to what extent scared me and still does. I did research. You know what I saw immediately? She selfishly put herself before our marriage. So, it only made sense that I needed to do that too. Follow my chain of logic now. Do people understand how being raised to be both compassionate and with the ability to view a larger picture is beneficial for me? So that is part of how I was raised. Update: the trip was great. Got great feedback and got one more step closer to that prize. This will be a long process though, and this was the first of many meetings. Thanks everyone. I got home early so I could be ready for my therapist meeting, and that went well. He has basically put me on a call as needed regime. We had a good talk, ran some stuff by him, and he challenged me in a couple of ways that got me thinking. And yeah, it was a good session. It's hard to explain because I do not share everything here. I don't share all the insecure thoughts, the doubts about whether I am doing the right thing, or fears I have of being alone forever because I can't trust someone. What you mostly see is the results of my own thoughts with advice from here and sometimes discussions with family, friends. These usually result in posts like I made regarding future interaction with my STBX. As an aside, I believe some that participate in my thread see that as I am ignoring or not taking advice when it's just the opposite. It goes into the mix and comes out as a plan of action on my end. If I'm not moving forward, I feel like I'm sinking into an abyss. My therapist is trying to use that part of me, the drive to move forward, but used in a way that is tempered, to keep me from bulldozing through the problem, keeping me on a leash but give me a chance run a little, so to speak. I spoke to her last night, but the conversation was short. We did meet this morning early and I helped load up her things, and I even put some in my vehicle and took them to her mom's. We had to go back and get one more load which would fit in her car. At that point we started talking. We were around each other about 5 hours straight. 3 was talking. And I've come to the conclusion I was not only right about divorcing, but most of you are right about talking with her any length of time. It's just not good at all right now. Physically I have a hard time looking at her, much less the thought of touching her. And honestly, she needs to have some time apart to work on herself. A few details that came out of the talk was she has been struggling to understand why she did it, and her self-loathing has gotten to a point it's manifesting itself physically. She can't sleep and she has chronic fatigue. With her being pregnant, yes, I'm convinced she's pregnant, it's not good for the baby. Her work environment has also gotten so toxic she has officially requested a transfer, hopefully to a state administration position. Gina and her friends continue their revenge on her for Jay finding out. She says she wants more than anything to help me get through this, but honestly does not know how to help. She is also resigned to fact we are divorcing, but hopes we can start over and maybe reconcile. I don't see it. She told me she went to see Jay last week and apologized for her role in deceiving him about Gina's affair. He was not friendly to her, but he did accept her apology. I already knew this, but I didn't tell her. She asked what I thought about her contacting the OBS and apologizing to her. I told her I would ask, and that caught her off guard. She has no idea we were still in contact. She asked me if we were seeing each other, and I told the truth, which is no, but we had gone out to eat a couple of times. That really shook her up, and I chose not to elaborate. I am going to the appointment with her and told her we would speak to the doctor about a paternity test. That's the closest we came to an argument. She was insulted, and she used that word, by me thinking it was someone else's. I just told her I was insulted she had another man's ex in her mouth. We calmed down and I told her it was unreasonable for her to lie to me for over a year and then expect me to believe her now. She said she understood, but it still hurts to know I think of her that way. I took mercy on her and didn't reply to that in the manner it deserved. Going forward, I have told her I will be at the appointment, but we no longer have a reason to communicate at all until then. After the appointment we can sit down and plan out some path forward where we can both share in the experience, though I don't see how that's going to work. I told her I would forward her request to the OBS, and if she agreed then I would give OBS her number and the two of them could meet. But I would only contact OBS if STBX would meet her in person. No over-the-phone apology. She agreed, and I sent the text immediately to OBS. OBS responded that she would think about it. I guess OBS wants to talk to me first. STBX also said she wanted me to know that one of the male teachers has been paying too much attention to her and she wanted it clear that she has not done anything with him. This is one of the things Gina's friends have been doing, spreading rumors. She said the teacher was aware we had split but she does not know how he found out. He's been coming to her office every day and talking. He even texted her a couple of times and she told him to stop and never contact her outside of work again. She showed me the texts. I guess she's afraid it'll get back to me. I did not comment on that, but I'm surprised it did not bother much at all. I know my update was more about her and what is going on with her, but you guys already know my issues and we did discuss those. So that's it. My comment, it was a good update. Sounds like you did a damn fine job keeping your emotions in check during the 5 hours that you were with her. I'm a pretty strong dude, but in your situation, I don't think I could keep my emotions that restrained as I am very weak for my wife. You sir are a boss. Let me see if I can finish part 4 ending today. Hit that sub and bell button for the latest update.